Welcome everybody remotely or in person. I think we'll start tonight by approving last month's minutes from September 27th. They were distributed. People were given an opportunity to comment on it. I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Charlie? Okay, we'll start with you, Judd.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I was absent, so I'm
Okay.
going on this.
Yes.
All right, the minutes are approved. Thank you. And we will go to our only matter of the evening, which is 116 Main Street. Do we have somebody on this application? Yes. Great.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent, thank you.
Shall I introduce the application?
Please
Okay.
do.
Okay, this is concerning the interior renovations and minor exterior renovations at a detached garage at 118 Main Street.
And can I
Yeah.
Are you the architect, engineer?
Yep, I'm the architect appearing on behalf of the property owner.
Great.
Sorry, I'm Stephanie Bassler with North River Architecture.
Thank you.
Okay. The proposal is to renovate an existing unfinished attic above the 2-bay garage. And the scope of work is to make habitable space out of a rough attic. And so we've gone through planning board review and have their approval with the condition of ZBA variance, which is what I'm here for today. The inclusion of the habitable space of the 300 square foot attic has shifted the FAR on the property marginally, I would say, but it's a number and it requires your review. I could get into the specifics of what the change
Yeah,
is.
so when you say marginally,
Mhm.
what are we talking about?
Well, 300 square feet additional.
300 in terms of percentage, how far does that put you over?
From the previous baseline, 7% over. From the allowable, 27.3% over. The existing conditions were already non-compliant.
Gotcha. Okay. All righty.
The renovations are, as I mentioned, almost entirely interior. They require moving an exterior door that faces Main Street about a foot to clear a code compliant stair up to the loft level, and repositioning a light fixture on the exterior of the structure. There's no additional volume created. The exterior is otherwise, there are 2 skylights that face north that are proposed for the roof plane. Other than those exterior modifications, none of which affect the volume of the building nor the footprint of the building, the work is entirely interior and involves finishes, insulation, electrical work, that sort of thing.
And what is the purpose? What are you going to use this space for?
I'm just realizing that I'm not on my earbuds, so I'm going to change to those.
Sure.
Okay, is this okay for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. The property is currently permitted as a bed and breakfast, and so it has guests staying in, I think, 3 apartments or units, I should say, in the main house. And there is a resident property manager who resides on the 3rd floor in the manager's apartment, and that person would be using this attic of the garage for a personal studio or office space. Exactly what activities are up to that individual, but it would involve just probably daily use and moving between the apartment and the studio as they go about their business and do their work on site.
So if I may ask, so the person already lives in the structure, the main structure, correct? Can you hear me? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Can you hear me? And yes, that's the answer.
yeah, the person already lives in the main house.
Okay, so why does he need the studio?
Well, it's a smallish apartment, a sort of attic apartment on the third floor, and the space was available, and the property owner was willing to convert it for this use. And the why of it, I can't speak to more than that.
True, but it now puts it 27% over what's lawful for the FAR there, correct? 27.3%.
Allowable, yeah.
Right. So starting from a existing condition of 20% over allowable, it was already a baseline condition that had. I've been involved in some previous permits on the property. I don't have information about previous variances that may have been granted that allowed it to get above the allowable, and I don't have any information about, you know, whether there was any permitting process involved in that. But what I'm saying is that the baseline condition that we're dealing with right now is already 20% over.
And what's in there? Is this just raw? Is it gonna be space, finished space? There's no kitchen or bath or anything in there, so it can be rented out to another person?
No, it's very small. It's 300 square feet, one room, two windows, one at each end, a stair actually taking up a portion of that 300 square feet.
Probably bigger than most studios in Manhattan now, isn't it? 300 square feet? Close to it.
Yeah, that's a tight one.
But there's not going to be a bath or kitchen or anything like that. in the
No,
space.
there's no plumbing being introduced into the building, and it currently doesn't have any.
Gotcha.
Right,
Okay.
but does that mean it will not be introduced in the future if we make this approved? If we approve this, can plumbing be added at a later date? I would think the answer to that is yes,
With permitting,
with permitting,
right?
right? And it's not gonna increase FAR,
No,
right? And the benefits don't accrue to the residents, right? They accrue to a business,
right.
okay? So,
Yeah.
you know, this is a hard sell as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Like,
I hear you.
yeah.
Do you have any questions?
My question is who benefits? Like,
Right.
you know, usually we're sitting here and the argument is that the homeowner or the resident accrues a benefit because they have more space, or they have a nicer backyard, or they have, you know, a bigger play area, or they have, you know, access to their backyard. This seems like a business transaction to me. And I'm not sure I understand why increasing the accession over FAR is to the benefit of the community, other than to the benefit of the owners of the LLC. So my question
my
was,
under- I'm sorry, could I add a note?
sure,
Sure.
Okay, it's my understanding that the FAR control is meant to regulate the density of development in the zoning districts. And this proposal doesn't change the density of development on the lot, and it doesn't change the intensity of use on the lot. And so the criteria for review, I'm not following your analysis of who benefits and how that's pertinent to the review of a variance for FAR. May be so. I mean, that's your business and jurisdiction, but I have perceived and was hopeful that this board would perceive the application as one of being net neutral impact on the neighborhood, on the character of the neighborhood, on the quality of the environment that the buildings are situated in.
right, so I don't see it that way,
Yeah.
right? Because once we grant the FAR, then future modifications are that much easier, and you could have another unit there.
You could have another unit there, but not without permitting, and then that would not, I don't believe, under existing laws be permitted.
Right.
Now, if they change the laws, that's different. I don't know. I have to say, my feeling is because we're just being asked to look at FAR, it really is kind of a net neutral. I mean, we're not increasing density in the town. I don't know, but I'm open to hearing, obviously, anybody else's opinion. Anybody else?
But if
wanna
that were the
be-
case, we would basically
on
approve
this?
every attic that needs to be expanded and that's what
Right.
we're here for. I mean, we're here.
Okay.
And I don't know whether or not, I mean, is this person who's there, is he or she there full time? I mean, do they live on site?
Yeah.
In the space now?
Yeah.
What's the size of the attic space? If you know,
Excuse me,
the size of the attic space presently?
of the garage?
No, where the person resides presently.
Oh, I would have to look that up. I don't have the plans right at hand.
It's interesting. What do you have something to say?
Well, I have a question just from my fellow board members, because I recall last year we had an attic
Mhm.
application and there was a concern about precedent and all that. And I can't remember what the concern was, but can someone who
So
remembers share that?
So that was an attic which had very steep roof. So the wall at, the height at in the corners was like 2 feet. The roof sloped down. And all they were trying to do was bring the roof up. So they had a staircase going up into the attic, but they couldn't use it as a room because of the steep slope of the roof. And what they were doing was changing the roof line. I don't remember anything more about it than that.
But I remember
Right.
that there was a concern that this would open up the door to a lot of people finishing
Right. Well,
rooms, I think, which,
Yeah.
and I'm
Permits
trying to
more people
remember
live in
why,
that Space,
just
yeah.
to let more people in that space,
Right.
and that wouldn't be.
I mean, and I know one concern we've had in the past is a lot of buildings being built with unfinished space. That then people come to us afterwards and ask if they can finish, which
Right.
essentially does increase
right.
the amount of people who can live in that space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
that's
that
your
which
point.
ties
my
into the
point.
same.
Yeah, that is your point.
So that
Um,
even now, under these circumstances, there wouldn't be an additional resident, but that doesn't, that
But-
opens it up for the future.
But I also like Artie's point, which is, this means we would approve every unfinished attic, right? If the only criteria is that it doesn't increase the footprint, right?
And every
It's-
unfinished
We're already
unit.
using space, then-
Absolutely.
Well, and almost by definition, FAR doesn't increase the footprint.
right,
Right, it's more the usable space with,
right.
right.
That's coverage.
Within the four walls, right?
Right.
Most commonly within the four walls, so the same,
Right.
that applies
Good point.
across the board. And it is a commercial space, a little bit different than, maybe yes, maybe no, but it's a consideration, I think, as opposed to private residence and things of that sort. And, again, it's a 27% ultimately, 0.3% variance. And, we're not here rubber stamp request for variance, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Stephanie, do you know offhand how this compares to comparables in the neighborhood with
In
FAR?
terms of, I don't
Voted.
have information about the nearby buildings, or I don't know how to access it to provide that comparison. Is that information available publicly, the usable floor area per lot?
That's only if they file for permits for that. I mean, a lot of people, I think the experience has been have used that attic space without getting it permitted.
But yes, it would be,
It should be.
it should be publicly available, yeah.
Okay, I did review the online resources that I've used in the past for Irvington. I wasn't able to find any FAR for the surrounding properties.
And it's an older building, right? I mean, it's.
Yeah.
Probably predating the zoning code.
I'm sure. Could
Anybody have-
I understand what the considerations around who benefits were that was being discussed a few minutes ago?
Do you want to?
So as I said, generally, we're being asked, part of the justification for the zoning variance is that it benefits the homeowner. Right? They have, and that's one of the reasons lawyers generally cite that the homeowner gets a benefit, they're entitled to this benefit, et cetera. Right? So I'm trying to figure out who benefits here. It sounds like the benefit accrues to the LLC, not to a homeowner.
And a pecuniary benefit, most likely.
Correct.
But the LLC is an owner, right? I mean,
Exactly.
it's just a different kind of
It's a
owner.
different kind of owner, right?
Right. Right. This is a commercial use. Is there anybody else on the call who'd like to be heard on this? Do we have any? I don't even know if we have anybody watching.
It's my understanding that the LLC is a single ownership, so the property owner is the sole member of the LLC. And I would suggest that she benefits from this application because, well, for one reason, she's seeking it. She asked us to pursue this because it benefits her ownership of the property, because she can then offer to her employee, her property manager, an amenity that wasn't previously available. I don't know if that suffices under your consideration, but you know, it is sought by the property owner, who is a person who seeks this benefit. And the application is for the use proposed, which is without plumbing, without any kitchen amenities, without any appurtenances of a dwelling unit. It is what it is on paper. And the owner doesn't propose to use the space for any other purpose. So I would hope that the application would be received in good faith, that is the intended use of the room, and that any change under this owner or any other owner in the future would go through the appropriate permitting processes in case any additional dwelling units were ever proposed for the property, but that's not the case right now.
Stephanie, just to get familiar with the bed and breakfast structure, is it permanent now for 3 unit? There's 3 units now that are available. Is it capped at 3 or before?
The permit lists the property as a 2-family residence, but and it doesn't number the units that are on rent that are available for this to guests. I could pull up the plans, given half a minute, if that's a data point that would be useful to you. I think that it's 3 units that are available for guests, and then there's a 4th unit, which is the apartment for the resident property manager. But I could look up the plans if that's something that you want to give me half a minute to do.
Yeah, you want to do, should we?
Well, I was just curious to know if
Yeah, I'm a little
It's readily
curious too.
accessible.
Yeah.
if converting, if the garage apartment could then be used potentially for the property manager, would the benefit be that they could then rent out that 4th apartment? Just putting perspective on it.
Right.
I apologize. I do have the number of rental units on the permit. I have it right here. Wrong number. 5 rental units, no cooking facilities in any of them, and 1 landlord unit. That's the resident property manager.
So that's what it's approved for. Is that how it's currently used?
Yeah.
Okay, so the 5 units are all within the home,
They are.
and
yeah.
then the auxiliary unit that is basically a garage with an unfinished attic.
Well, the garage is used by the property manager and the guests on the property, and not as an auxiliary
but the
unit.
Attic right now is used as a garage, not used as a rental unit.
Yeah,
is
it's
what I-
used for storage by the property owner.
Okay,
Can you just repeat what you read about the, what the permit allows?
5 rental units with no cooking facilities, a 1st floor common area with a kitchen, and 1 landlord unit.
okay. Are there any other questions?
Wait, you said 5 units are allowed, not including, that's for the entire property, right? So theoretically, if the garage had a unit, it's within the 5, you could put a unit in the garage. right? Theoretically, you're permitted for 5 units.
And,
How many-
that's how many are constructed within the main house.
There are 5, there are 4 rented and 1 for the,
Five
Caretaker.
rental and 1 for the property manager.
5 rental and 1 for
so
the
there's
6.
6.
Right, total.
Yeah, I just attached the permit to the chat if that's a way that you can pull it up and look at it.
You have to share your screen.
No, it's in the sidebar chat in the Zoom call.
You'll have to make your presentation by sharing your screen, please.
Sure.
Okay.
Why is this a TCO, not a permanent or final CO?
I have no idea.
And this expires
In March,
in a couple of months.
right?
In 5 months. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, actually, the permit expiring in a few months actually worries me more than anything else we've just spoken about
Well, the
because
fact
I'm
that
not
it's TCO is
sure
also troublesome.
Knew it.
they just renew it as a matter of
Yeah,
course.
if you look at it, it says it looks like it was originally issued in 2019.
Oh,
Upper
okay.
right-hand corner.
But certainly something is not completed to qualify for final CO. That's the issue.
I've never been advised of any conditions on this.
How it's done in the building department.
Oh, that's the standard procedure?
Mhm. For
What,
this
that-
particular,
To never give a final CO,
this is just for the special permits or bed and breakfast.
which
Okay.
could, so therefore it may not be expanded or extended, I should say, by the village, for whatever reason.
Well,
Right.
They have to renew it.
Who does?
The
Yeah.
property owner.
Not the applicant,
And the village has to make the determination whether they'll permit the renewal,
right?
right? They can not agree for whatever reason. If you don't know, you don't know. It's okay. I'm
I
not,
can't speak for that.
I
I'm
don't-
just saying this is.
I just know because I do construction litigation in New York and I know what a TCO is versus a final CO. And yes, you can extend them, but there's clearly something missing for them to qualify. Well, my common understanding is that TCO is temporary by definition, so.
Yeah, that would be typical around here that a TCO is has a limitation and there's conditions on it. I don't know that that's the case, and what was just suggested, it seems likely to me that the building department uses this format for the special permit. That that would be your purview, not mine.
But is that because in
Is your answer to-
2009, bed and breakfasts were new to the village of Irvington?
Yeah, I
Your
don't
answer to who the LLC is.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know whether that's
Oh.
common or not.
You just-
Yeah, you don't know. Okay.
I had one clarification. So there's a total of 6 units on this TCO. And currently, there are how many units occupied? Was it? I
I
thought I
don't
heard.
know. I know that the house's interior layout facilitates 5 rental units and the manager's apartment. I don't know how many are currently occupied.
And tell us again, what's the purpose of the garage again? Because I forgot. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Just for the property manager's use as a studio or personal office space. It could be light artwork, nothing requiring any plumbing or washing up, writing, reading, the work of a professional person.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Doesn't look like anybody has anything they want to say.
With
So
this,
I'm just,
can I stop sharing on this?
Sure.
I'm just wondering to address principal concern that was raised. Is there any way to condition an approval on any future requests for plumbing or something like that to have to come back to the
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to vote on the issue before us.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and
I mean, because that's the concern that one day it just turns into a
well,
separate
but
apartment.
I think there's two concerns,
Yeah.
right? I think Artie's concern is just as potent, which is how do we ever say no to finishing an attic? Right? Like, that's what, that's a very, very good question.
Yeah, I guess, right, that's one question, and I mean, you could, that's always a tough one. But the other one, I guess, to me is 300 square feet is more than ample for a bed and breakfast without cooking facilities. So all you'd have to do is run some plumbing up there, and that's another unit, which is not particularly what I think is intended. But we're sort of, this is the first step.
Well,
sort of
300
towards
square
getting
feet
there.
would be a very sizable bedroom.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Right.
And the attic space that's there now that he occupies, or he or she occupies, could be the other unit that's added. Or maybe someone's told, you know what, you'll now have the use of the attic space for the one unit, so we're not increasing the number of units, but now you're increasing the rentability and the income for expanding the space.
But that's not the application in front of you. One could presuppose all sorts of scenarios of use, but that's not what the property owner is planning to do with the space, if it's allowed.
No, but you're asking for a variance that's 27.3% over the allowable is what you're asking for.
Yes,
Right,
with
we-
the caveat that there were multiple permits and processes in front of the town over the past years that even the, not just the ones that I've been involved in, for the establishment of the B&B, for interior and exterior renovations, for site work, and none of that triggered a variance process, to my awareness, that had any weight on the status of the FAR, which is current, which is 20% over. So what I'm seeing is that an existing condition has been allowed to remain without critique and without concern, 20% over, because I don't know why, because nothing was proposed that triggered a review, apparently, in your
This
process.
existing
And now with a 7% increase in FAR, that's what I'm putting to this board, not a 23%. It's 7% over what was allowed to exist and remain over the last many years.
Right, but it is a 35% increase in the excess. Right?
Is it 35? I thought it was 27.3.
Well, they're going from 20% over to 27%
The
over.
additional is.
That's a 35%.
Oh, I'm
increase
sorry.
in the excess.
Gotcha. Yes, absolutely.
He used to be an engineer.
Right.
He's good with numbers.
Any other thoughts from anybody? I mean,
Well, I
like,
mean, the only other thing I would just throw in there without even, saying which way I'm leaning, but is that it is a unique property that doesn't
it is unique.
impact,
We-
doesn't appear to impact
We live
other
in a village
neighborhoods.
of unique properties.
I know,
Right,
I know,
we do.
but I'm just on the counter side.
I understand.
It's not like there's gonna be 5 more cars, but I guess there could be in the future if
Right.
things were to change.
Any other notes, any other points? Okay, well, I think this is a tight one, actually. I think this is kind of a tough decision. But given the fact that it is going to be almost 30% over what is meant to be allowed in the village, I'm going to say make a motion to deny. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, so we'll vote, Charlie, from you.
I vote to deny.
Okay, so you vote yes.
I vote to approve your motion to deny.
Okay, yes.
I vote to approve the application.
Okay, so you vote no. I'll vote yes.
I too am sort of
Yeah,
torn here.
yeah, it's a close one.
Yeah, I think I would vote to grant the application, so no. to-
Okay,
So it's all up to you, Chuck.
So now, does my vote matter? Because you've already had,
No, you're the first alternate, I'm the second, so.
No.
yours
Yes, your vote
matters.
does matter.
it does.
Yeah.
Does. So just because I think that it would be, more or less, if we looked at other FAR in the village, I would tend to believe that there's a lot that's over.
Mhm.
So I will vote that I will allow this.
Okay, so by the tightest of possible margins, you are getting your variance.
Wait a minute, isn't a tie?
No.
No,
Oh.
because we're 2 no's, 3 yeses, so yeah. So I will send you a letter by the end of the week. You get your variance.
Appreciate that. Thanks for your consideration, everybody. Do I need a referral to Architectural Review Board, or is that
The letter
a
will
necessary
serve.
step?
Yeah.
Beg your
yeah,
pardon?
yeah. Letter, and then you'll go back to the planning board.
Okay,
So you can call the building department.
Yeah.
okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Okay. Good night.
Thank you. Well, I think it's a useful conversation to have.
Off?
Let me know, when are we adjourned?